fans, it's Sean Pierce Johnson here, and welcome back to Stompbox Saturday. Today I am very excited to be showing you a little bit about the Big Bloom Overdrive from Amplified Nation. You know, I don't really know if it's just because Dumble died last year, but ever since last year, I've really been trying to hone in on the Dumble thing. What is that thing? What does it do? And how can it work for me? It's really weird how the older I get, my tone tastes end up not really getting more focused, they become much wider, because as much as I love like chuggy modern stuff, I also just love really beautiful singing tones that really a lot of the session greats have used over the years. And when it comes to the Dumble thing these days, there's only a few companies that do it really well, and one of them is Amplified Nation. Taylor is making some seriously awesome recreations and variations of that Dumble theme, and he's applied some of that know-how to a Dumble-style overdrive pedal, which we've seen quite a lot of over the years, and this one definitely takes some cues to one of the best out there. So let's go ahead and throw the pedal up on the screen, take a look at the controls and how we can manipulate sound, and get to hearing how this thing really sounds. I love simple overdrive pedals, and the Big Bloom provides simplicity in spades. 4 knobs and 1 toggle switch are the controls that we have, in addition to, of course, our bypass foot switch. We have drive, which is going to set the amount of gain, the amount of saturation that we get from the Big Bloom. And then the accent and tone are EQ controls, with accent being more of like a presence control and tone being sort of that overall high-end content of your sound. You're going to be playing with those two to really match it to whatever guitar you're plugging into it or whatever amp you're playing through. And then finally, volume is self-explanatory. It's the loudness of this thing. It's the master volume. And just like on the Dumble Overdrive Special, we have a rock jazz switch. 2 different positions that provide different tonal qualities to the overdrive sound produced by the Big Bloom. And I think that's the most logical place for us to start listening to this. So let's go ahead and do that. I'm gonna go ahead and match the volume output of the Big Bloom with my clean channel that I'm running, which is oddly the Carvin Legacy Drive. It takes this pedal really, really well. And then from there, we're just gonna leave the drive, accent, and tone at 12 o'clock on the dial and just flip between the rock and the jazz settings and see with the main Les Paul just how different those tones end up being. You can hear immediately that the jazz setting is much more woolly and a little rounder, not quite as aggressive. If I had to pick a mode, I would probably be using the rock setting 8 out of 10 times, because that's kind of the sound that I'm most familiar with. It's the kind of sound that I like more, and I also feel like it gives me a little bit more to play with. And with that in mind, I think what I want to do now is I want to show you how I dial it in, kind of give you a little sort of time lapse or a little cut of how I go about shaping an overdrive sound with the Big Bloom. Now, when it comes to this kind of overdrive style, I generally like to have the gain turned up around 3 o'clock, maybe just a hair past it, because I just find that kind of saturation really gets me excited. Already that's a usable sound, and I would love to keep playing with that. So, but I told you I was going to show you how I dial in a sound, so let's move on to the next step. Because I've added a fair amount of drive to the pedal from where we started, now I'm gonna need to pay more attention to where my volume is set. Because it's great to get a little bit of a boost in volume with a distorted sound, but if you're adding in a bunch of gain and boosting the signal into your amp hotter, it can get a little bit more muddy and you lose some of that goodness. So I wanna check my unity gain. You know, we could probably leave it straight up at 12 o'clock. Just get a slight boost before we're really hitting the front end of the amp hard. Now, the next step that I take is to use the accent control. This is gonna set more of a presence and a cut and an aggression to the overdrive sound. So I find that by approaching it first, I end up being able to use the tone control to sort of soften some of those harsh edges if I feel like they're getting a little too ahead of things. Like that. I could even leave the tone knob there, but I want to just play around with that now a little bit, see if I can refine the sound a little bit more. Yep, that is one tasty tone, if I do say so myself. I would happily play that sound in many a context, but there's plenty more where that came from, and we should chase those sounds right now. Now here's a handy little setting that I like to use with the jazz mode and single coil pickups. Just makes for a nice hefty, thick sound that you can get a little bluesy with, a little Americana-y and rootsy with, or like I like to get with it, a little Buckley with it. But the jazz mode, man, this thing works so well if you're dealing with an amp that has like a presence switch or a bright cap built into it. So let me play you my clean tone first without the bright switch engaged and then with the bright switch engaged. And you'll see that these settings, none of that bright switch stuff that makes, you know, using pedals with amps like that almost unbearable, none of that's really there. So let's listen. This last sound, I'm gonna add on a little bit of chorus from my Boss CE2 and keep the echo on because quite frankly, something about this sound makes me think of somebody who shares my surname. And I think once you hear it, you'll understand what I'm getting at. have it, my friends. That is the Big Bloom Overdrive pedal from Amplified Nation. I am so excited I got to take this little stop on my Dumble discovery journey with you all today. I have really enjoyed getting to know this pedal and getting to understand what it is about that overdrive special sound that we've kind of come to know and love as guitar players. This is a very friendly kind of distortion overdrive sound, but at the same time, it's not gonna mask your mistakes. It very much is a pedal and a sound that your mistakes are gonna be amplified and they're gonna be very easily seen. There are certain times when you're, making these different chordal things that the overdrive is just kind of like, no, I don't really want you to do anything like that. And I'm gonna make sure you sound bad when you make these mistakes. It's pedals like this that actually make us better players and make us cleaner players. So pardon me while I go back to woodshedding with this pedal, but in the meantime, I want to say a huge thanks to Taylor at Amplified Nation for sending this pedal my way for me to check out. I've enjoyed it so much, and this thing just looks absolutely killer with the copper hammer tone enclosure. It's one of the coolest looking overdrive pedals I've run across, and I certainly hope you all enjoyed the tones that I was able to capture with it as much as I did. What was your favorite? Or is there something about this pedal that you want to know that I didn't address? Whatever it is, let me know in the comments section below. And if you enjoyed this video in any way, or maybe you just learned something, I would love it if you supported me in my endeavors to make better guitar videos for players from all walks of life and from every genre. You can do so by doing one of two things. The easiest, of course, is clicking the subscribe button and ringing the notification bell. But the best and the way that allows us to stay more in touch directly is by signing up for my email newsletter club, where videos like this are sent direct to your inbox whenever they go up. Just go to SeanPierceJohnson.com/email, enter your first, last name, and your email address, and that's it. You'll need a couple days just to get a confirmation from me because I gotta enter it manually. But once you are in, you're in, and you are entered into future giveaways that I do here on the channel. Thank you so much for spending part of your day with me, everyone. I hope you enjoyed yourselves and have a great rest of your week. And until we see each other again, I'm Sean Pierce Johnson, wishing you all watching great tone, great health, and of course, happy stomping. Cheers, friends. God bless.